Hello, football fans. Welcome to another live, incredible episode of Jacob's Ladder. We are going into the end zone tonight, my friends. And I hope you are all buckled up for the pigskin. If you know anything about pigs, they are where the devils are welcome. So will this episode be a show that enlightens you and encourages you and inspires you? It is not betting advice, so I hope that you do not take this show and then go and then spend a bunch of money to try to win. But I have some ideas. There is a huge prophetic message that is going to be revealed today for all of you. I hope that you are ready. I see that there are a lot of people already in the live chat. Hit that like button and let's get this party started. The Super Bowl coming on 2/11/2024. That's February 12th. Let's go! Who's ready? Do you got your team? Do you know your picks? Do you know the stories? Have you been brought down deep into what the commercials are sort of predicting? Do you know that this is a Super Bowl that has been in the making for many, many years? There is a connection to the number 9 and to the number 11 and aliens. This is going to be such an amazing show. I have the chills and I'm just getting started. I hope you're all ready. I hope I'm not blowing your ear off because I am just way too loud for this microphone. Take a look at this thumbnail. Halftime show. It's Usher. Do you know what an usher is? An usher is someone at the wedding that escorts guests into the big celebration. An usher. Halftime show. Here. But in 2017, this superfan, some people say this is debunked, by the way. They say that this isn't a real thing. There's varied advice, but the fact that someone would plant a flag underneath a stadium that has to do with loyal and faithful service, it's strange. Now you know what a raider is? It's a person who attacks the enemy in the enemy's territory. It's a marauder. The enemy's territory, many would say, is Sin City. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? I don't think so. Not after this Super Bowl. I have a feeling. In Judges chapter 2, it says, whenever Israel went out to fight, the hand of the Lord was against them to defeat them. Just as he swore to them, they were in great distress because you know what? They weren't good. They weren't doing the right thing. They weren't serving God. They were being cruel and unkind. But then the Lord raised up judges. Now, I've been talking about judges on the show. And we got a judge that's coming our way that's going to be something. It's going to be like Samson. Which, by the way, if you take the word Samson, it's Mason. That's right, you just move the letters around. Who saved them out of the hands of these raiders. But they wouldn't listen to the judges either. And they prostituted themselves to other gods and they worshipped them. As evidenced by, I'm sure, the Super Bowl show. Halftime and otherwise. But the commercials? Even the commercials they seem to be leading up to some kind of a huge event. Let me get there before I give you all the ins and outs about the amazing symbolism between Brock Purdy and all this stuff with Taylor Swift. Let me just talk to you a moment about the commercials. So the first commercial right there, you'll see a lot of them have to do with cats. Save the Leftovers. You know that show? On HBO about the rapture called The Leftovers? You find it strange that it's Save the Leftovers? May ow? Like ow? Very interesting. That was for mayonnaise, of course. And then, of course, Doritos, which is lighting up, you'll probably see, at the Super Bowl. The Doritos sign is now lighting up the pyramid at Luxor, because of course, the Allegiant Stadium is smack dab in the middle of Egypt. You got the Luxor Hotel, you got the pyramid, and then you got the obelisk, and then you got the Allegiant Stadium, right? The giant stadium, the all giant stadium. Very strange. And then of course we had, Progressive had a commercial with cats. All the cats get in the car, they're robbing them. And then Doritos comes out, and what does Doritos come out with? They come out with they have a new chip that's coming out on 211 called Dynamite in English. Yeah, that's not sus at all. Who in the live chat saw the commercial for the Doritos Dynamata, which means dynamite, which means ba-boom. Ba-boom. How many movies have we seen where, like the Super Bowl, you got a ba-boom, you got something terrible that happens, right? Batman. The Dark Knight. Isn't that strange? Matthew Perry, all the stuff that happened with Matthew Perry. How he was so addicted to like talking about Batman. And I'm Matman. He was posting about Batman. And then, of course, he dies. It's terrible. All the stuff that Scavino is posting out about Donald Trump, where you get these flickers of the bat signal. Done shows about this. Batman. And then you think of The Dark Knight. And you think of Bane. And you think of that scene in the movie The Dark Knight where Bane... Spooky. Spooky, you have a lot of commercials that have to deal with some kind of a strange blowing up type thing. Like Geico. Geico, which was a commercial. And they basically said, a black hole's going to open up and suck you into oblivion. That's a lot of fun, right? That's a great commercial for insurance. Get lost in the black hole of your garage. That was... I think that was one of those commercials that just really left me thinking there's something going on. Something going on. Then you got Popeye's chicken. Guy being frozen, reanimated. Everything has to do with like some kind of calamity. All the videos, all the commercials I saw had to do with like people like looking at something strange. It was like a Miller Lite commercial. It was like a Bud Light commercial. Everybody was freaking out looking at it. And I think one of the guys was like a giant. Commercials were weird. All of these things, to me, they seemed weird. We got 1,000 people watching now. Definitely please hit the like button for me. I'm going to steal that from the Donut. I like how he does it. He goes, every time we hit 1,000, I'm going to ask for people to hit the like. Do me a favor and hit the like so that more people come. And do share this around. Okay, so if you know anything about the lore behind how the 49ers end up facing with 49s 13 by the way, end up facing who they're facing, the Chiefs. It's a long and storied story. And of course, the Chiefs, everyone is just up in arms about how Taylor Swift has brought so many people into this sporting event that is upon us. Do you know how many times she's been to the games? 12. Do you know what game this will be for her now? 13. Weird. We were just talking about 13, weren't we? 13 colonies, 1776. 13 astrological signs. Ophiuchus, the 13th sign, wrestling the snake. It's about the end. It's the close of a cycle. 13. Everywhere you look, 13. It's freaky. But everybody wants to talk about Kelsey's brother, Travis Kelsey's brother, Jason Kelsey, who's also a football player, who is the brother. He's a tight end of the Chiefs tight end, Travis Kelsey. He took off his shirt because he had 40 Miller Lights. 40. You know what a Miller is? You know what a Miller is? A Miller takes grain and grinds it down. Grinds it down. You know what happens when you have 40 Miller Lights? Thank you, G Squared. Thank you very much for the amazing super chats. I appreciate it. I'm not sure do me a favor, tell me what country you're from, too. I don't know what a czar is. I probably should figure this out because he's very generous. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. A miller is somebody who grinds down the grain. Grinds down the grain. Remind me of a bear. That's what he reminds me of. But at the harvest, guess what happens? The grain is grinded down. I want to play this for you so that we can just do a little bit back in time, and this will give me a little bit of credibility. Hopefully, you hear nothing else playing. Let's see if I can get to this right here. Here we go. I'm gonna press play, and hopefully you'll hear this okay. Of the chief. Here we go. Named after a high-ranking Freemason. Yeah, that's right. Who would have thought that, right? That's a swerve. Few know that the Chiefs were originally known as the Dallas Texans. I didn't know that. So there's this dude, H. Roe Bartle. He was the mayor of Kansas City. He was a gregarious man and a member of the Lebanon Masonic Lodge, number 87, out of Kentucky. He was a phenom when it came to civic duty. Everybody loved him. He was a volunteer of the Boy Scouts, interreligious associations, and the American War Dads. At one point, Bartle served concurrently on the board of 50 nonprofit organizations. He's an accomplished public speaker, and it was his success in these roles that led brother, another Freemason, Harry Truman, to appoint him to the Federal Economic Stabilization Board. And more importantly, his lifelong leadership skills gained him the nickname Chief. You're watching a team named after a high-ranking Freemason who everybody loved, named Chief. That's interesting. But what about the eagles and the arrow? What does that have anything to do with anything? Now, once again, I have a tendency of putting my foot in my mouth and saying things and then they don't turn out to be true. So don't expect this to happen, okay? But it's fun to think about these things and it's fun to speculate. And I think it would be really cool if this did happen because of the fable. So there is, when children's stories, you probably heard of Aesop's fables, okay? Well, there's one called The Eagle and the Arrow. An eagle sat on a lofty rock watching the movements of a hare, which I find incredibly interesting because, of course, we're in the year of the rabbit. So here the eagle's watching the hare. He wants to make the hare his prey, but an archer who saw him from a place of concealment. Secret societies are hidden. The chief's is an arrowhead. A place of concealment would be a hidden thing. You get the goosebumps. I get the goosebumps a little. I don't know if any of this means anything, but for whatever reason, I saw the arrowhead and I go, I bet you there's a story. So I wrote fable, arrow, and eagle. I didn't recall that. I just felt like there must be. And of course there is. Of course, the eagle, the American eagle, big deal, right? So the archer, who saw him from a place of concealment, took accurate aim, wounded him mortally. The eagle gave one look at the arrow that entered his heart and saw in a single glance that its feathers had been furnished by himself. "It's a double grief to me," he exclaimed, "that I should perish by an arrow feathered from my own wings." My own wings. I did it to myself. I brought about my own demise. I gave those in hiding something to destroy me with. The moral of the story: misfortunes arising from a man's misconduct are the hardest to bear. Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. An eagle, the phoenix, rises from the ashes. It dies. And then is birthed again. The Roman Empire falls. But then it comes back, right? In a hidden way. So I see this and I say, eagles are going to lose. Eagles are going to lose. That makes sense to me. From a place of concealment. especially since it's named after a man who comes from an organization that is concealed. Tell me in the chat if you think that this is a reach or if you think that God is speaking. Well, all right. I hope that made some sense to all of you. Interesting. From a place of hiding, secret place, the eagle gave its own. It's kind of like what we did. We gave them the very tools that they used against us. But this year it's different. This year, there's another story I see. Do you know what the 49ers, they're named after? Gold miners. Now that is incredibly significant. Do you know that the address, as I told you before, meant to call? 3333 Al Davis Way. Do you know what Davis means? Hope Travel Light Girl does. Thank you for the super chat. It means the son of David, who is the son of God. Christ is the son of David. It's a picture of Christ. Do you know what the word Al means? Al Davis, in pertaining to, having the character of Christ. This is the way we're going. 3333, to call from one place to another, to summon. It's time. Come hell or high water is something I've said on the channel for a long time. And oh my goodness gracious, this is what's happening, my friends. This is why Jesus is called the Son of David. It gets better. It gets better. 49ers, they're gold miners. And to mine gold is a very significant spiritual thing. Surely there is a vein for the silver and a place for the gold where they will find it. Iron is taken out of the earth and brass is molten out of the stone. He sets an end to darkness and searches out all perfection. The stones of darkness and the shadows of death. The flood breaks out from the inhabitant. Even the waters forgot about the foot. They are dried up. They are gone away from men. As for the earth, out of it comes bread, miller, grain. And under it is turned up, as it were, fire. The stones of it are the place of sapphire, and it has gold dust. The 49ers and the life of a 49er, it was the search for gold. And that, by the way, was from the book of Job. And if you look at the timestamp, 111, LV 111, and we know that LV 111, 111 in Strong's means that which is unlawful. In Sin City, it's just significant that it's all happening at the exact same time. The first 49ers panned for gold. Do you know what panning for gold means? Panning for gold is when you basically go into the rivers and the streams and you just kind of keep shaking. And you're like, I'm just going to keep going in until I find that gold. And that's the way we should be looking at our spiritual life. We should be digging constantly. We should be siphoning the water. The waters, the doctrine. This is what Scripture calls water, is doctrine. The waters of the Word of God. We need to be, this is what gold miners do. Gold was very significant. It was everywhere. It was in the temple. It was on the Ark of the Covenant. It was everywhere. Gold, significant because it is symbolic of divinity. Divinity, the divine. 49ers are those that are digging for gold. Who in the live chat? We got a lot of people watching. Who in the live chat is digging for gold? Are you digging for gold? I'm digging for gold. Who is the guy that is leading the charge? Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, who, number 13. Brock, do you know what the name Brock means? This is pretty interesting. It means badger. And do you know what a badger is? A badger is a, kind of a mischievous little animal. Do you know what Purdy means? By God. But do you know how badgers are synonymous with the Ark of the Covenant? I put this out on X, top right-hand corner. Can you find the connection? I said, teaching you to fish. Make the connection. What's the spiritual message? There is Brock Purdy with his girlfriend from Iowa. Sweet couple. He's a sweet guy. And then there's a picture of the old Project Veritas James O'Keefe, which is O'Keefe Media now group. OMG. Oh my God. With the Ark of the Covenant, which, by the way, I clothe you with embroidered work and shod with badger skin. Apple Pitts, thank you for the super chat. Do you know that badger skin covered and protected? It was an outer layer, if you will. Very significant. Very significant that Mr. Irrelevant, his name means badger. Let's take a look at this for a second. The badger skin covering served as the outermost layer of the tabernacle. This is the flesh that is being dealt with in this Super Bowl, if you look at it from a spiritual significance. Badger skin covered tables, altars, lampstands, and the Ark of the Covenant. While the inner beauty, the inner layers, they were like holiness and beauty. They would represent that. Well, the outer layer, the badger skin, reminds us that God's presence can be found even in the ordinary and unremarkable aspects of life. In summary, the badger skin serves both practical and symbolic purposes, protecting sacred objects that contain the spirit of the living God. So, of course, you got Badger by God as the QB for those that are mining for gold. You probably see why now all of a sudden I'm like, I'm thinking the 49ers may win. Who else is feeling that? Wendy, are you feeling that with the super chat? I appreciate it. Ho, yeah. Let's talk. Let's talk. Number 13. Now, Rogue Cop sent this to me, and this was really good. When I read this, this is really kind of what got me going. So I appreciate you, brother. He sent this to me. This kid was the very last player selected in the 222 draft. Please do me a favor in the live chat. Please do me a favor in the comment section. I told you a long time ago that we'd be seeing 222 everywhere. And we pretty much see 22 everywhere. 22 is going to be a very significant thing, especially even in the Super Bowl. I'm hoping that we see that number somehow represented in the end score. That would be really cool. But I hear it would be difficult for that to happen. But, actually we got 22, with 1,222 people watching right now, which is pretty cool. Hit the like. Let's get some more people here. Out of 261 other candidates, he was selected before the San Francisco 49ers spent the very last pick in the draft from QB from Iowa State. Of the 261 men selected, the vast majority then did not win an NFL job, or 2 years later were unable to stay in the league. Less than 120 of those draft candidates managed to win a job with the NFL's 31 teams. Most did make it so far as 2 years to 4 years, but they never really drew attention. The odds stacked very heavily against, especially this young man. Most players drafted at the end of the 7th round they're lucky if they make a team, let alone hang around to make a minimum of 777,000 a season. Look at that number. 770,000. 77. Is that what he's making? Am I the only one that finds this to be Am I the only one that finds this to be interesting? For whatever reason, it looked like I was on mute. Let me know if everything is still fine and you can hear me okay. I appreciate that. He was the last one. He was given the name Mr. Irrelevant. Mr. Irrelevant. Last guy picked. The last. Take a wild guess. Mahomes. Take a wild guess. Who was picked first? The guy he's facing. The guy he's facing is first. And he was picked the last. This is what happens at the 11th hour. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Is it just me that finds this to be incredibly interesting? I mean, what are the odds of something like this happening? Where you have this story, it's exciting. I put it on X. I said, breadcrumb. Many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. How does this passage connect to the picture below? Because this is what happens. I read something that he was the last picked, and then I hear the other one was the first picked. And I go, oh, I gotta, hang on. Hello, everybody. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. The first pick quarterback against the last pick quarterback, but God prefers the one that comes last. You know why? Because the first you is of the earth, earthy. The first you has been taken advantage of by a chief, by people that were in secret, looking to harm you, taken from you, to destroy you, like that story of the chiefs. But in the last hour, the 11th hour, Christ went out and he found others that were standing idle at the Super Bowl. And he said to them, why are you sitting here idle? And they said unto him, because no one's hired us. The economy is terrible right now. And he said to them, go into the vineyard, and whatever so is right, you shall receive it. Go out there and sow. Go out there and pick. Go out there and harvest, because this is the time. I need laborers, because the laborers are few. It's the last hour. I'm calling all of you. I don't care if you never prayed a day in your life. I'm saying get to work, because this is the moment. And guess what? I'm going to pay you the same as Jacob here, who's been doing this a long time. I'm going to pay you the same. So when the even was come, the Lord of the vineyard said to his steward, he said, steward, by the way, this is going to come important. This is going to be important very shortly. Steward, call the laborers. Who got that? Did I do a good job setting it up? I'm going to help you out. Call the laborers. Call them. Summon them. 3333. I got the goosebumps everywhere. Maybe it's just me. Are you feeling it? I'm feeling it. Are you hitting the like? Did you hit the like? X out of the chat if you haven't already. Are you new? Am I a goofball? Sure. I'm a meatball. Actually, the Dan told me I should wear this for the show, so I'm going to put it on right now because it's more like football related. She goes, oh, you'll look like a football player. You look cool. You're ready to go. People are going to listen to you. They're going to tell you that your ideas are good. Your ideas are good. The day that we're in. Well, why wouldn't things be interesting if you have ushering in a new day? Behold, I make all things new. That's Revelation 21. He sat on his throne and said, behold, I make all things new. These words are faithful and true. Usher. The usher is the guy who brings people into the wedding. This is the moment that we're coming into. The marriage supper of the Lamb, it's called in Scripture. It's interesting. Spooky. but the last shall be first. Call the stewards. Call them. Call the laborers. Give them their hire. Beginning from the last, hello, unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a talent. It says penny there, but it's a talent. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more because they've been working. We're a bunch of grumps. We've been doing this a long time. And it's like, how is everybody else getting this now? How I've been getting this revelation forever. How is it all of a sudden we got these young guys coming up getting interesting info? You could be grumpy. You could get a little jealous. The old laborers that we are. When the prodigal returns, that's the day we're in. A lot of prodigals are going to return. He summoned them. The last shall be first. The first shall be last. Mr. Irrelevant. Do you know in Scripture it talks about how Christ, when he appears, and they say that this is from the Old Testament, says that there's nothing about him that is attractive. In fact, he's a man most miserable. You probably wouldn't want to be him. His life wasn't that great. In fact, when he appeared to his friends, he said, these are the wounds that I received in the home of my friends. Mr. Irrelevant. Not many people really care about God today. Pfft. You know how many people I talk to? Nick at nights, in the back. They don't even believe in God. So powerful. I think people are in for a surprise. I really do. I think Mr. Irrelevant is going to become very relevant very shortly. Isn't that right, Casey? Casey's got the coolest beard in the avatar. Casey, do you still got that cool beard? Thank you very much, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. Brock seems to be a humble guy. I saw a couple of things going around on social media where they were like, it's this guy, this young kid. He looks like he could be one of my kids, one of my children. I don't like to say kids. Kids are like baby goats. One of my children. Like Noah's 23, Anthony's 22, Shiloh's 20, Ethan he's 12. Brock's a young guy, but you listen to this guy talk about God. He seems sincere to me. Let me start this from the beginning, and let's just take a listen.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think it's just a testament to God and where he's taken me in life. I've never been the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, or any of that. I feel like I've always sort of had to fight for what I get and work for what I get. But God's always given me an opportunity, whether that was in high school, college, and then obviously in the NFL. Getting drafted last, people, overlook you and all that kind of stuff, and then all you need is an opportunity, and when watching see what he does. I put my faith and trust in him, and he's gotten me where I'm at. So when I'm down 17 at half, honestly, I'm just thinking, all right, God, you've taken me here, and win or lose, I'm going to glorify you, and that's my peace, that's the joy, that's the steadfastness, that's where I get it from, and that's the honest truth. So I leaned into that, and sure enough, we were able to come back.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Journey.
You tell me if you think that this young man seems to be someone that you could put your faith in a little bit. Seems like he's like, I'm not the best. I wasn't the best. I got to give God the credit. Same with me. Look at me. Look at me. So we got him, and then we got Usher. We got a lot of other people showing up too. That's what's going to make this whole thing very interesting, is the fact that we have so much going on. Some people are saying that Post Malone's going to show up. I think Reba McEntire is going to be singing the national anthem. My goal with this show is just to get you excited, because a lot of people watch I don't like watching football, but now after this show, I'm excited to watch. I'm going to be rooting for Brock. I'm going to be like going, go Brock, go Badger. Look at the Badger go. Look at the Badger go. Even the small things. When I thought of the Death Star and I thought of the Womp Rat, I thought, I wonder if a Womp Rat and a Badger had the same thing, same size, but they don't. They don't. Badgers, I don't think they get to be 6 feet tall. A lot of people said that this is already A lot of people think that sports right now are fixed. I mean, we know WWE is fixed. I got a show coming on about that with The Rock now. He's now facing in Mania, which is what I was hoping would happen. Remember? And then it became the American Dream the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. But I was hoping that was going to be The Rock. We're going to talk about that in the future. I'm not going to go into it right now, but it's exciting. But a lot of people say, oh, you know what? Super Bowl, it's all fixed. Nothing's real. You know, you've heard of things like, Deflategate and all of these things. And even my son Noah was telling me there was some kind of a play at the very end, and they were saying that the ref, it wasn't the best play. And then Noah told me, he goes, you probably shouldn't talk about it because you probably will sound silly because you don't know what you're talking about. And I said, I know. I'll just tell him that, though. So I guess there was some kind of a play, and they said maybe it was a bad call. I don't know. This is how they got in. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But I do know that people like Vivek Ramsey, he said, it's gonna be Taylor and the Chiefs because that's his prediction. Be her 13th, by the way. 13. That's the number for Brock. Number 13. Travis made a lot of money from the old wackadoo too, getting everybody to do that. That's a big in my book for whatever reason. I mean, you don't want to fault people, especially if they believe in it and all this, but it certainly seems like we have two different sets of people coming at each other. I keep thinking of those cicadas, the 13 and the 17. It would be really cool if it turned out to be 17 and 13. 17, that number is associated with that one letter, but it's also associated with Trump as well. But 17 is like the 17th day of Nisan. It's a very important day. Maybe we'll talk about it at the end, but it does have something to do with, kind of a salvation of sorts, if you will. But many people are saying that they have this whole, conspiracy theory. This is the thing that it's, maybe none of this is real. Maybe, a lot of this is just kind of set up. I don't know exactly if that's the case. I don't know, but I do know that this Super Bowl is going to be interesting. I do know. And why do I know this? You know whose favorite number is the number 13? Taylor Swift. Do you know 13 is associated with the Knights Templar? That was a terrible day for them. Spelled doom. The number 13 spells doom. Knights Templar could be sort of connected in a roundabout way to the Masons. Like the Kansas City Chiefs. Like the Kansas City Chiefs owner who was connected to the secret society. 13 to them spelled doom. 13 is the number of Brock Purdy. Purdy, of God, by God, from whom God sent. Taylor Swift is borderline obsessed with the number 13, and not just because she was born on December 13th. She started writing 13 on her hand during shows. She adores the number, and it's Super Bowl 58, 13. 49ers, 13. 13 signs, Ophiuchus, we spoke about. Nikki Haley wearing the 13 stars, the 13 colonies, 13 everywhere you go. I'm feeling like there's more. And then I think to myself, do you remember that blackout that happened? In 2013. There's that 13 again. There was a blackout for 33 minutes. 2013. And a lot of people actually blamed Bane from The Dark Knight for this blackout, which just so happened to be 11 years and 9 days from this Super Bowl. 9/11 again. Strange. There's got to be a little more to it than that. Strange. Do you remember, this is going to blow your mind. I got at the beginning of January, I think it was January 5th. No, it was January 4th or so. I got this strange letter that Shiloh called me. He said, "Oh, you got this thing from the 9/11 Foundation." I was like, "Oh, cool." And I looked at it, and it was from the tunnels to the towers. You probably remember, you got to tell me in a live chat so people that are new see that I'm not making up stories. Do you remember that I said, I feel like there's something important about this? I didn't know exactly what it was. I put a tweet out. I said 9/11. I've been talking about 9/11 a lot. I said I got home from the gym. I got a letter stamped. Never forget 9/11 from Tunnel to Towers Foundation. What was weirder was when I opened it up and I opened up to the letter, I see Israel. That was a letter that was about Sergeant Israel Del Toro. Del Toro is the bull. It's like a picture of Christ and the bull, Christ and Baal. It's very interesting in that one letter. Remember 9/11, from the tunnels to the tower. I said, I don't know why, but I wonder if there's something to tunnels and towers. And then what happened? Like, what was it, a couple of weeks later? All these videos about these tunnels that were discovered in New York. All these tunnels, right? How spooky it was. Even now they're showing these things underneath Las Vegas. And they're talking about these tunnels. This craziness that like influencers like Dom Luker, who's getting some, because he did like a whole thing about these tunnels. PSYOP. And then of course we had the attack on what? The tower. Tower 22. Tunnels, towers, all within what, like 3 weeks? I find the whole thing really suspect. I just feel like there's maybe more to this. And then the tower incident that happened where? It happened in Jordan. And why is this interesting? Well, the only surviving member of the Kansas City 3 that passed away, his name was Jordan. I shared this on X. Once again, you should be following me on X. It's Jacob Israel 71. I share a lot there. A lot of people that's follow me. Let me know that you signed up, and just like at Jacob Israel 71 me, and I'll follow you. Unless you're like a crazy person and mean, horrible. I'm not going to follow horrible people. I got to be honest. Hopefully, if you're watching here, you're not. Most people aren't. But there's so many 9/11 weird, even alien connections. 777 is 666 on X, sent me so much stuff. Usher, he's the halftime guy. Well, guess what he's doing? He's bringing on a couple of other guests. A couple other guests that are going to come. Maybe Post Malone. Post Malone talks about aliens all the time. Do you remember in Las Vegas, not too long ago, it was all about the aliens? Freaking out about these aliens that were walking around in Las Vegas? Do you remember this? It's weird, right? We'll take a wild guess how long ago that was. 9 months, 11 days. It's very strange from the Super Bowl. Very strange from the Super Bowl. All of these alien and UFO connections are weird. Usher's movie, The Faculty, it was released November 12th, 1998. 9,222 days later. Very weird. Very weird. A lot of alien stuff. More alien stuff. Post Malone. He may end up in the halftime show. Multiple alien encounters. Reba McEntire. She's going to be singing the national anthem. She's known for that movie, Tremors. Species of creature, these crazy worms. Remember that? Remember that Tremors? That was a new type of a horror movie. Aliens. Aliens everywhere you go. You got the Chiefs fans. You got Tower 22. The tunnel and the tower. All of these things are so strange. You know what I got to do? I got to get Truth Seeker on here because I know he's got more to add. I know he's been listening. Let me see if I can give him I'm going to call him on X. I'm thinking, by the way, I'm going to be doing this to have people call in because I don't have like another line. I don't want everybody knowing my phone number, right? So I'm thinking of in the future, especially on Patreon. If you're not following me on Patreon, you should go in there. I'm really doing a lot more there. And I'm going to be doing like a dream interpretation show there. I'm going to be doing stuff where, there's going to be interaction. And we're going to probably go through X to do it because you can do like audio calls. So like I'm calling him right now. I'm calling him. Let me turn this off so that, see if I can get him on.
Hello.
Hey, man.
How's it going, brother? Man?
All right. Good. Okay, so everybody, this is Truth Seeker. Tell
What's going on, everyone?
Say hi to everybody.
How's it going, everyone?
How am I doing so far, man?
You're doing fantastic, brother.
Oh, right on. Right on. All right, so listen, talk to me about what I'm missing here. What am I missing? Give me some things.
There's like a lot of notes. I hope you're ready.
Yeah. No, go. I mean, I want the experts to weigh in.
Okay. So Pat Mahomes Sr., it just got announced. I don't know if you've seen this. He just got arrested last night for DWI.
Wow.
8 days before the SUPERBOWL Bowl. That's very interesting. And they got announced today on 2/4, which is the day of the Grammys, the 66 Grammys. And Taylor Swift is actually going to be at the Grammys tonight. And Pat Mahomes Sr. actually went on record saying that he hopes that he doesn't have to sit by her at the game.
Really?
Yes. So that's very interesting, too, because even in gematria and reverse reduction, Saturday equals 53. And he's currently 53 years old. And then
he just got arrested for DUI?
DWI.
DWI.
Yeah.
Intoxication. That's huge.
Yep.
Pat, no,
5 plus 3 equals 8.
Yeah, tell me about you were telling me some other stuff, some of the things that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, and then Apollo Creed is also connected.
Oh, I had that written down. Yeah, look at this. See, this is me. I had Apollo Creed written down. He passed away.
Yeah, and he's connected to the Super Bowl.
And if you look
he played for the Raiders.
Okay, he played for the Raiders, and Apollo is the sun god, and you look at the Allegiant Stadium.
Sun worship, yep, sun logo.
So here you have Apollo, the sun god, and he passes away? And was there any connection to the dates of when he passed away to anything or no?
He passed away right before the Grammys, but the day that he passed away was actually on Thursday, but it was announced on Groundhog Day, which was interesting.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. And also he wore the number 49 and for the Raiders. So
13.
49ers playing at the Raiders stadium.
So I mean this seems to me like if the 49ers that's like more, I think like more like we'll say symbolic evidence that the 49ers may win. Do you think they're going to win?
Yes, I do. And he also passed away at 76.
What?
San Francisco adds up to 76 in gematria.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, all the connections with that. I mean, it's just when you go down the path and look.
What else can you share with everybody?
6 is 13.
What else can you share here?
And I was also getting into that Trump thing. Trump is actually speaking right before the SUPERBOWL Bowl at the NRA convention Friday night. And if you actually go to farmshow.pa.gov and you look at the complex, if you go look for the complex on the site, it says Giant. So that ties into
Giant, right? There you go, Giant.
Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah.
And the whole Trump stuff of 8. So that's very interesting, and it happens 8 weeks before the X eclipse.
And you have the 8s. You have the 8s on either side of the 9/11 in the address.
Yeah, and then the 3 Chiefs fans, like you was talking about too.
Yeah, let me pull them up.
Tower 22. Tower 22.
Right.
Because the surviving member of the Chiefs, was named Jordan, just like what happened in Jordan.
Do you think anything? I mean, there's a lot of talk about some kind of a major event that could happen at the Super Bowl. I'm not personally feeling like, not that I'm the gauge of what could and couldn't happen. Like, I don't want to hear of anything happening, but do you think something could?
I hope not, but it could always be a possibility. I mean, nothing will surprise me with these people. And, because you got to figure the fact that when the 49ers were in the Super Bowl once before, they had that blackout for 33 minutes. So who knows? And then obviously 4 years ago, I'm not going to mention everything, but what happened shortly after they played.
Right.
So. And then one last thing with the sun worship is the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl, Mike Shanahan and Ed McCaffrey was together, because Mike Shanahan is Kyle's dad, and he was the OC for Ed McCaffrey. So the sons, Kyle and Christian, have a chance to win the Super Bowl on sun worship. Also, Christian McCaffrey, Christian, Sunday associated with church.
Right.
And then they would become the third team to win 6 championships. So then you would have that 666.
And you have Usher perform. I mean, like it's such a ceremony. I mean, the whole thing.
Yep.
And for those people that don't know, he kept saying superb owl, because if you take Super Bowl and you look at it, it looks like superb owl, like there's like a secret connection to it. I mean, it's in the all-seeing eye to begin with. There's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of ritual. So when he says superb owl, he's talking about Super Bowl, just for everybody to...
Yeah, Donuts actually pointed that out plenty of times, too, the superb owl. That's where I got that from, man. Alex, if you all ain't, go check out Alex Donut.
Yeah, Donut's the best. Everybody knows Alex on this channel. We all become friends. We all become family, you know?
Yeah, you're the man, too, Jacob. You're putting in good work, brother.
Thank you, man. Anything else you want to share before I close out the show?
I do got a show premiering at 5 p.m. Eastern time. If anybody wants to come over and check that out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Stuff,
definitely.
Check that out.
Can you make sure that you look him up now? Was it just Truth Seeker on YouTube, or is there any
Truth Seeker on YouTube?
Truth Seeker on YouTube? That's easy enough. Yep. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. Great show, brother.
Talk to you later. All right. Be well. God bless. Yeah, he's a nice guy. You know, the whole thing is we do try to help everybody. We try to like lift people up, and if I talk to somebody and I think that they have their heart in the right place, I try to. But he's very interested in football. He posts about football all the time. So a long time ago, I said, hey, maybe when I do my Super Bowl show, I'll be able to have you on. And so I hope you do check him out, because he really is. He's a nice young man. He's a nice young man. So this is it, people. This is it. I don't have any like scores for everybody, but I definitely feel that it's going to go to the 49ers. I think that it would be cool if we see any of the numbers like 13, 17, 17 to 13, because if you look at even the odds, the 49ers odds 53 to 9%, 0.9%. That's 17. And then you got the Chiefs odds are 46.1%. It's 11, 17, 11. And as I told you before, 17th of Nisan, that was the day that Christ was resurrected. Where? Near sunset. Near sunset. All of this stuff is interesting. And what happens next is a great earthquake. So there's something that I feel a little trepidatious about when it comes to this. But I do believe that this is going to be one of those events that maybe go down as not an upset so much, but as like a historic happening. And you got to tell me in the comment section if you agree. To leave notes in the comments on what you think is going to happen. This is the way it works. We all work together for the good. But I'm hoping to see these numbers. I'm hoping to see 22 somewhere. 22 is because it's the Tav. It's the number for Christ. So I think it would be really kind of cool if there was like, I don't know if they won by 20, like maybe 33 to 22 or something. But I would like to see that number somewhere. These are the things that I think about. 17 and 13 because of the cicadas would be cool. But of course, 11-11, which is I Am a Witness, the merch that you can get in the description of the video below. Always something that I look forward to. So once again, you leave your little predictions, and I'm going to leave you with have the best Super Bowl ever. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time. I hope I added a little levity to it and showed you a deeper spiritual. There's a lot of symbolism that's happening. Pay attention to things, people. Pay attention to things, because it may just show you what's coming our way. All right, I love each and every one of you. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share it around, get yourself the merch, meatball hat, God's Champion, all the stuff in the description of the video. You can go get the trulyfreehome.com. I don't have my stuff with me here, but you go to trulyfreehome.com, enter code Jacob if you want to get any toxic-free chemicals. Sponsor the show, helps out. All these things help the channel out, but the best thing you could do, hit the like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, share it around, encourage people to check this channel out. All right, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.